This is the story of Star Wars. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear R2-D2 beep, like this. Let's begin now.
You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
It's time to spin round the rim. This is Desert Planet Discs. Star Wars music in a single file. Here are your hosts, Carl Bayless and Level Up Leroy.
Following live broadcast is recommended by the Imperial Council in the belief that your commitment to remain upstanding citizens will be reinforced. It is required viewing for all members of the Imperial forces.
Time now for
Desert Planet Discs,
brought to viewers everywhere in the hope that our own lives may be uplifted by the comparison and enriched with the gratitude of relief. This transmission is unrehearsed and unedited, and is hereby begun without further comment as to its lack of moral value.
and welcome to Desert Planet Discs. This is a bonus track episode. Lost track of the numbers of the bonus tracks, so there we go. But I'm reliably informed, all in with specials and bonus episodes and everything else. This is episode number 50 of Desert Planet Discs, so if you've been with us since the beginning, thank you, and you really should seek help. If you're newer to the show, go back and check some of the older shows out. But welcome one and all. And so bonus track means special guest. And opening up the show, before we introduce our guest, opening up the show, we had our good friends Galactic Empire with their rendition of the John Williams Superman theme, which is from their upcoming new album. And that's available from all the usual places. So go and check out Galactic Empire and support them. And so that was released to coincide with the recent film. And our special guest today is a Superman in his own right. Oh, cheesy links. That's what we're about. It is comedian, Fantha tracker, and massive collector. It is Mr. Jonathan Hipkiss. Good evening, John.
Hello, my friend. That's not what I thought you were going to say when you said massive. There was a pause. There was a very slight pause, and I thought another two-syllable word was coming there.
There we go. If you do want me to be your sort of like, ego boost introduction man on any of your upcoming tours, please, I'll speak.
I would.
I'll give you my agent. I'll give you my agent's details later.
I've seen how much you charge. I wouldn't be able to make any money. That's Superman thing, it's true. You got to go and support Galactic Empire, but here's a tangent that you probably don't want. Do you know that new Superman film?
Yes.
I thought it was the second worst film of the year. It was an absolute.
I thought you were going to say it's the second worst film I've ever seen, and the first was The Last Jedi.
Well, we can reorder here in that regard. Then Superman, it takes it was just awful. I just thought the whole thing was absolute garbage from start. Everything wrong with modern filmmaking was alive and well in that new Superman film. I may be the only person there was no plot. There was every time you thought there was too many characters. Every time you thought something was going to happen, you were like, "Oh, this is a story." Then that went. It was just awful, absolutely awful. The worst film I've seen this year was Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman. Have you seen it?
Right. No.
No, don't bother. I think she was trying to act in it, but she should be an environmental health emergency, that woman. There was too much plastic in her face to be able to act. So bad filmmaking gets me really angry. So I don't mean to start off on a dower. But there's some insight into my film taste, if you like, my friend. And yes,
there we go.
The Last Jedi is number one.
There we go.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm very well. Well, I say I'm very well. I'm full of cold, so if I do descend into a barrage of sneezes or coughs during the interview, I A, apologise, and B, will have to be hastily trying to edit things. So,
as my nan would say, my nan calls any flu virus, she calls it the rash.
Okay.
Anything is the rash. So when I had COVID for the first time, she was telling all her neighbours that I had the rash, which they thought was not COVID, but a transmitted disease.
Yes.
So you've got the rash, my friend.
Oh, well, there we go. So
anyway, look, My apologies. I told you I'm a man of many tangents.
Yeah, there we go. But hey, obviously, what we do on the bonus tracks is talk to entertainers who also have a love of all things Star Wars, or most things Star Wars, as we've already established. Maybe not everything Star Wars. So yes, John, as well as being one of the newer Fantha trackers.
I know. Yeah, I think I was in fact, you inducted me.
Yes, with the old Football Manager shirt and handshake at that was Celebration London, wasn't it?
Yeah, April 2023. So
2023.
I'd been writing for a bit, and then the Godfather himself,
moment,
Mr. Newbold said, "Oh, he said, these aren't half bad. These are quite good. We'll put them on the site."
Yeah.
And then I started carrying on, and then he said, "Oh, we need to." I think I was a baby Fantha for a long time. I'd been sort of reached birth via Paul Naylor, which is a site that
there's an image people don't need.
We're still looking for the mother. We don't know who that is.
There we go.
So been pampering for what year? 2.5, like 3 years, I think, something like that.
Coming up 3 years next year, and something you've been doing for a lot longer is stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Now I had the pleasure of my first introduction to John as a performer was actually at a Star Wars night that we an ill-fated Star Wars night that we put on at a local venue in the Midlands for May the 4th. There was themed drinks. We had a couple of guys from the Central Legion came down, a stormtrooper and a Twi'lek bounty hunter, who coincidentally had the fortuitous photo opportunity of all time, which was they were outside trying to sort of drum up business for people to come in, as a Falcon taxi, which is a local taxi firm, pulled away. So we've got a photo of the stormtrooper taking aim at the Falcon taxi as it drives away.
Oh, I remember that.
It's like we couldn't have planned that any better.
If I remember, it was quite quiet, but they were a good crowd.
Yes.
And then you had already booked the night.
Small but perfectly formed.
Yes. Yeah, well, much like myself. And if I remember, you said, "Have you got any? Do you want to do a Star Wars set?"
Yes.
And you said, "Here's the fee." And I thought, "Oh, this fee will be good to use at Echo Base Live. Here's some collectibles on the way." So I wrote out 40 minutes, I think. I only did about 5 or 6 at the top of my act, whatever that was back then, to get into it. And then from there, it was all never to be seen again, a pure Star Wars stand-up.
Yeah, it was. And it, as we will find out a bit later, that's actually coming almost full circle.
In a big way. But the other day I was sorting out some paperwork and I found the set list for that night.
Cool.
And one of the great things about the difference between a band set list and a comedian set list. So a band set list, as we all know, you'll know, is very simple. There's the songs and anyone can understand it. Whereas a comedian set list, I'm always fascinated because it only makes sense to the comedian.
Yeah, it's like shorthand notes.
And what you'll do sometimes, say you're trying out new stuff, is you'll have the set. So, for instance, we're recording this on a Wednesday. Tomorrow night, I'm doing a brand new 30 minutes for the Birmingham Comedy Festival. So I've written this, and so the set list goes from pub names, Little Ricky Hitler, Weird Last Conversations, Don't Die on the Way, £1 Locker, Mystic, and it doesn't make any sense to anybody else. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the reason I bring this up is because in the notes of the set list for that night, it just said Luke milking green titties.
Okay.
Which for a second I went, what? Which then I can only assume means that scene in The Last Jedi
Yeah.
where he's having his green milk. And then there was some other stuff I can't remember now, but yeah, there's a little. And a really interesting thing is to look at a comedian's note.
Yeah, the standout memory from that set for me was the bit where you were talking about how should we put this? Entertaining a young lady for the first time and being more worried about the state of your collectibles.
Well, like all good comedy,
which is not a euphemism.
No, it was based in truth.
Yeah. Don't knock anything off the shelves.
Yeah,
that's a 400 quid Hot Toys.
Well, that was the first time I'd ever. I can't remember how the bit. It had structure and a punchline.
Yeah.
But basically, the true story was it was the first time I had a girl back to my place of living, and we entered my bedroom, which is where the collection is, and I was suddenly just panicked. I thought, so I just said what was on my mind. I said, look, if you break it, you buy it. And as you will not be shocked to hear, the night did not progress from there.
Yes. Well, there we go. But yeah, so as a Star Wars fan and stand-up comic, how did you get into comedy? Was it always something? You hear a lot of stories of people. Oh yeah, I was always the class joker at school and.
Yeah,
those sort of stories. How did you get into comedy in the first place?
I can give you.
When did you get into comedy?
I can give you all that. I was 5 or 6 years old, and I watched for the first time Mrs. Doubtfire, which just completely changed everything. Robin Williams. I mean, you'll know this. We're good friends, but Robin Williams to me is everything. I absolutely worship that man. I was lucky enough to meet him, and I saw him live. So I saw Mrs. Doubtfire, and then I was really badgering my parents for the Disney Channel. And back in the 90s, you had to pay extra for the Disney Channel. Yeah. So I ended up being 6, and I was on washing up duties to pay £5 a month, which was a lot to my mum and dad, to get the Disney Channel. And there was a show on there called Home Improvement with Tim Allen. And while all the other kids were watching, like cartoons or whatever that may be, I became obsessed with this show, Home Improvement. And I remember a vivid memory going, so this is their job. And I was asking my mum and dad, going, what are they doing? They're like, well, they're performers. They're this. I was like, this is what I need to do. And then as you got a bit older, I was then watching stand-up. And if you were to watch Robin Williams do stand-up, it's not suitable for an 8-year-old. But the condition was, the deal was...
You didn't repeat it around the house.
You didn't repeat it. And of course, a lot of it went over my head at the time. I didn't understand. But the voices, the characters, this wild energy. So I decided, well, this is what I will do. And then as you get into a teen, I wasn't funny as a kid. I was very shy as a little boy. Then you started to become the clown in secondary school and was just obsessed. So Star Wars and comedy, especially Robin, it was basically Star Wars and Robin Williams. And I was just upset. I would get home, and not to be crude, but while every other teenage boy would get home and do what he needed to do when he was alone in the house, I would go and I would just study Robin, his own chat shows. because I decided, well, I don't need any qualifications, do I? Because I'm not going to go to uni, I'm not going to go to college. I will just do comedy, which in hindsight is quite a. I would say, kids, stop in school. But that's what I did. I never went to uni. I never wanted to go. I did go to college. Studied English, literature, and philosophy. But then I decided, by hook or by crook, I will be a comedian. So I didn't do my first gig, because here's the thing. I thought, well, I won't do it now when I'm 16, 17, although I'd started to host school concerts and stuff. Yeah. And I remember I was hosting the talent shows and hosting the Leavers Assembly, and I would write bits and do that kind of stuff. And I was always in a little double act, and we'd do sketches. But then I remember thinking, well, I won't do comedy now when I'm 16, because all I'll talk about is sex. Can I say that word? Is that okay to say?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And then I finally did my first gig when I was 20 or 21. And of course, all you talked about was sex. And I did it at a pub in Cradley Heath called the Hollybush, which is where most Midland comedians, Joe Lycett, did one of his first gigs there. And it was, the only aim of that is to get up on stage, and it's all gibberish and nothing really. I can vaguely remember a couple of bits, maybe getting a giggle. And then from there, it's very slow starting, because you need the confidence, and it was like one gig every 2 months for a long time. So that's how it started, really. It looked, a life making people laugh just seemed the most worthwhile pursuit in life. Even if it didn't go great, I was like, oh, well, what did you do with your day? Oh, well, try to make people laugh. To me, that just always seemed, and not in an egotistical way, because I, unlike most comics, I love to laugh. I love laughing. I loved laughing as a kid. I was a giggly child. And I just thought, well, let's just carry that on. Why would you stop? is the philosophical answer.
Yeah. And so over the intervening years, you've built up and built up. I'm sure if I had the big klaxon, you've done some high profile support tours.
Yes. Supported Jack Whitehall many moons ago. That was a good one. That one was at the arena in Birmingham. And then different. Shameless and Desperate is the other name of any tour I might do, because you just take anything. You'll know this. You're a performer. You'll go. Yeah. Oh well, that's the fee. They've missed a room full of people, and you'll do it. It's taken me on some great adventures, and I've met, some of the most loveliest people. I was able to do. I did it in America. I did got a scholarship to go and study at the Second City in Chicago. If anyone doesn't know, it's like an improvisation and writing place. John Candy and Mike Myers and Steve Carell have all treaded the boards there. So a lot of my ideas in life, which I'm guessing you'll circle back to with what we'll talk about, they're very much based on, oh, this seems like a good idea, I'll do it. So that one, I was reading, it was January 2017, and I was reading Mike Myers' biography, and he was on about the Second City. And I put the book down, I went, oh, well, I'll do that. I'll just do that. That'll be a good way to spend the year. So I applied and got a scholarship. I was very lucky about that, very grateful. So I studied there and then did some tours of America, but I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it till they tell me I can't or I'm dead.
Hi, this is Ashley Eckstein, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks.
Bit closer to home, you've done the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which obviously a lot of our listeners will no doubt be aware of. Probably one of the most internationally renowned comedy festivals. So how many times have you done that now? Because I know it's more than just this year. And what's that like? How does that sort of pan out?
6 times. Yeah, six times I've done Edinburgh.
There you go.
So the first one was a sketch show. I had met a wonderful actor. He didn't do comedy. A guy called Sam, and we met at theatre school. And he wasn't a stand-up, but he was a good comic performer. So we got together, started doing sketches, and so that was the first venture. We did this whole. It was Sam and John's jam sandwich. The idea being that if you take the J from John and the Am from Sam, and you stand in the middle, you're in a jam sandwich. But so that was 10 years ago, and it's changed a lot since then. So Edinburgh was the hardest, most joyful, painful thing you'll ever do.
Yeah.
I believe now it's still a lot of comedy, but it's changed to spoken word and music and poetry and all this kind of stuff. I've done a couple of plays up there. And then in 2019, I did my first run of shows, my first residency, which it actually has a Star Wars connection, that one. Because that was called Jon Hipkiss, At Least We're Out the House. And that title, which I always liked, came from Mark Hamill in 2016. Because when I saw his panel at Celebration, he came out and just said, oh, well, this is nice, at least we're out the house. And I thought, oh, that's a good title. We'll keep that
That's title. A good title, yeah.
That one came from. And then COVID, as we all know, the big blip. And then the show I came back with in 2023 has another Star Wars title connection. That was my first time doing the full run at Edinburgh. You do the whole month of August and, do 100 shows. And that one was Jon Hipkiss, This Needs to Be Delightful. And that one came about from Lawrence Kasdan when he was writing The Force Awakens with J.J. Abrams, and they were getting stuck and it wasn't quite gelling, and J.J. said, how do we do this? And Larry Kasdan said, I don't know what we do, but I just know this film needs to be delightful. I thought, that's a good title.
That's another good title.
So we took that title. But then finally, the show that I'm doing now, that I've done for the past 2 years and toured, and sadly doesn't have a Star Wars related title. Although I do like my long titles. My favourite film title of all time is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It takes an hour to say it. It's too long. No one says the whole damn thing. But I would like really long titles. There you go. That's what people say. So the one that's coming to an end, actually, we're going to end. That show will come to an end, and then next year we're debuting a new show. But there's a few tour dates.
You got a title for that one yet?
I do. But we had an email. I know it sounds so silly, doesn't it? Being a secret. That one will debut at Leicester, but they said we can't. You can't do anything. With that, so that's all programmed. No. But there's the last few dates of An Evening You Won't Regret Unless You Don't Like It, which is the one you saw, I believe.
It's the one I saw, and so almost bang up to date. Earlier this year, you were in the sunny town of Droitwich, which was home to the inaugural Rick Mail Comedy Festival, his hometown, and after many years of ideas and people wanting to do something to commemorate Rick and his legacy, put together a comedy festival, ran for just over a week, was it?
Yeah, it ran for, I want to say, May 31st till about June 7th.
Yeah,
and it took over the whole town.
Yeah, very much in keeping with, obviously, Edinburgh. Likewise with several of the local music festivals, Worcester Music Festival, a few more, Kidderminster, where you've got lots and lots of different venues, not necessarily all typically music venues or comedy venues, but all putting stuff on to either, in the case of the Rick Mail Festival, celebrate Rick's life, and the legacy that he left, raising money as well for causes either linked to the performers or, say, in the case of Worcester Music Festival, it's different local charities every year. And yeah, so I was fortunate enough to surprise you.
I was surprised. I was.
Yes,
it was lovely to see you.
I thought, oh, I'll message you beforehand and go, oh, I'm coming down. And I thought, no, I'm just going to turn up on the night and watch your face go, what are you doing here?
I think I said more than that, but in case any kids are listening, we won't.
Yeah, but so obviously, as I say, that was the first time that festival's happened. It was a roaring success by all accounts, and I've seen news recently, and obviously we've spoken. It's going to come back in 2026, bigger and better.
That's the plan. It's back for longer as well, I think. Maybe they've added on a full weekend. Really, so like you say, it was very grassroots. It was. I mean, I said it from the start. They gave Edinburgh a run for their money. Edinburgh is such a big organisation now. It's the biggest festival in the world. That's fine. And of course, when you're running such a big empire like that, there are things going to slide through. Whereas what happened with the Rick Mao Festival was it was run by people who just wanted it to succeed because it was their hometown. So the people of Droitwich, so big Rick Mao fan. Again, much like we've talked about with Robin, Dad was a fan of Robin, but he loved Rick and Aid, the young ones and bottom. So I was allowed to watch this stuff on the deal that you don't repeat it. But of course, Rick and Aid, like the slapstick and stuff like that. That's what you understand as a kid. And me and a friend from school, actually, I'd forgotten about this until this year. We wrote our own bottom plays.
Okay.
I would be Rick and he would be Aid, and it was basically just a lot of hello, and then we hit each other with a frying pan. Hardly the cream of talent.
The height of intellectual comedy.
But so they want, because they haven't. What had happened over the years since Rick died was at the town of Droitwich, they had real claim over him. They really did love him, and he talked very passionately about Droitwich. My hometown of Halesowen, I remember years ago reading Rick's biography, which was Bigger Than Hitler, Better Than Christ, which is a great title. See, it's all about the good titles. And I remember there was a page in that book that said, of course, if I was ever struggling to find somewhere to write in Droitwich, I could always go to Halesowen. And for that to be because I have no connections in the industry. It wasn't like I'm a nepo baby I was so far removed from anything showbiz. To read that in this book by Rick Mao, you go, Rick Mao came to Halesowen to write. That was huge. And so the festival was, I mean, I heard there were a few little kinks here and there, but it was run just flawlessly. I absolutely, it still is my favourite performance of the year. I was really nervous about it. I felt a lot of pressure for it because it had sold out beforehand. About 2 months before, I got an email that said, "Oh, you're sold out." I was like, "Oh, wow." And then there was a call to say the news want to do an interview, and these are all very nice things. But as you know, as a performer, all that matters is you've got to deliver the best possible show you can for whoever's in front of you on any given night.
Yes.
So I had really built it up in my head that, I'd heard that things were going great and stuff like that, but they were a great crowd.
Yeah, as
you were
mean,
there. You felt it. About 10 minutes in, I felt, oh, this is special. These are great, because it can happen. Because as a side note, people might have heard, you should never blame your audience. You should never blame your crowd. Apologies. Is that my? I'm pinging. But you can. because you could be ready, you could be prepared, you could have the best set, you can be mentally fit for a show, and then you go on, and there's just nothing. And they just shrugged the. Happened to me in Edinburgh once this year. One of the shows, my stand-up show. As you know, I like to be quite energetic, and I went on, and they did my favourite thing where they'd go, yeah, very good, very nice. I thought, well, you can laugh, you can, but they would go, no, this is nice. We're just enjoying this. We're just relaxing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good, nice, wonderful, good. Yeah, good. Okay, and it's so you can, that crowd. So it's back next year. And they've really taken some of the lessons that they've learned and stuff. But it was the first when I saw it announced, and it also, as a little side note, it really got away from the town. They didn't expect all this. I mean, it was like full UK. It wasn't just local. It went full UK coverage.
Yeah.
I remember Sorry, I was just going to say, I remember talking to punters. And they'd come from Scotland, they'd come from Newcastle, they'd flew from Ireland. It really blew up big time.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of national news coverage in the run up to it. By which point, obviously, I mean, certainly in the week of the festival, BBC Breakfast and people like that have got roving reporters in Droitwich going, "We're here for the Rick Mail Comedy Festival." Obviously, you were completely sold out by that point.
Well, and that was the wonderful thing about town. So I'd later come to learn that people in the area, it just caught fire. People were booking the week off work and going, we're going to support as much as we can. And there were grassroots shows. I think obviously the big headliner was Greg Davis. Who played the Norbury Theatre, which was where Rick Mail did his first ever show. And I think I benefited from Greg Davis playing because he was on at the same time as me. So if you remember, I was able to get a good gag at the start. It was how many of you tried to get tickets for Greg Davis?
Greg Davis,
but ended up coming to see me, which I was more than happy about. But again, they didn't care. They were like, "Oh, go. Well, we tried, but we're happy to watch it."
Yeah,
I just loved it, and so. If anyone is local or around, or it really is worth making the trek. Yeah, I've heard a few. Again, it's silly. Oh God, all these. You can't say things.
NDAs.
Yeah.
You've had to sign NDAs.
I've been told a few people who they are in contact to get. So I think it will be another special festival.
There are some big name headliners, which I'm sure there will be. If you don't manage to get tickets for those, you can always get tickets to see Jon again.
Come along.
You see, I'm saying that you might be one of the big name headliners next year.
Well, look, I mean, if you keep blowing this amount of smoke up me, I'm going to lift
then
off.
I am going to become your agent.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take off and. It was just wonderful. It was a great venue. I was at a venue called the Old Cock Inn, who run show. In fact, we're doing an encore show there in November because it sold out. It was one of the first. This is going to terribly. I hate. Mine was one of the first to sell out. That was not one of the. So they said, there were a lot more people trying to get tickets. So here's a cheap plug if I can. We're doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Again on November the 27th. At the same venue, same time, and it's like an encore performance. Catch it again. So
all new gags though.
It will be the same.
Mostly new gags.
It will be the same show. So if you've already seen it, come again.
Yeah,
is the end of it.
You'll know where to laugh this time.
Absolutely. Good God, man! You are fired as my agent.
Yeah, you won't need the little person holding the sign gun. Laugh now.
And laugh, applause, cheer,
yes,
weep and cry.
It was and is a very good show. It's
award nominated, that show.
Award nominated. There you go.
Yeah,
there you
go. The key word, see, you were right, my friend, not to applaud at that. Because the key word in that sentence
is nominated.
Yes, it's an odd. It's
But as I've often said, in fact, I might have said it to you. It's better to be nominated than not nominated, even if you don't win.
that's true. Yeah, that's
You've
true.
made the shortlist.
Yeah, it was the what was People's Choice. People's
Yes.
Choice. But if ever I win one, then I will say I've never believed in awards until now. I
Yes.
think they're very because I haven't won one. I feel that they're not
That's
that
it.
important.
Indeed. And of course, as we sort of touched on slightly earlier, bringing us into the Star Wars realm, Edinburgh this year also saw you debut a Star Wars related show. So tell us more about that.
Not related to Lucasfilm or Disney in any way.
Yes.
I am legally.
Lawyers stand down.
Well, I mean, you may joke, but I had an email off the Edinburgh Society to say that I had to, at the start of each show, which did wonders for the energy, I had to say this show is in no way affiliated or related to Lucasfilm or Walt Disney Enterprises, Disney Corporation, or Walt Disney Pictures in any way.
Did you do it in a Mickey Mouse voice?
I don't trust that mouse. He's only got 3 fingers.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to do with them. So
No.
I was very cautious.
This show is in no way related to the Disney Corporation.
I was very cautious. So the show.
Or you could have done it in Shreewook.
Oh, well, that was a great show. We had a show called Episode 47, Revenge of the Mexican Cartel by a Hairless Wookiee.
Okay.
Which will make no sense because I haven't explained what the show is.
Was, yes.
They're just going, no wonder Disney has filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So the show is a Star Wars improv show, the one-man made-up movie. And the pitch is basically, I improvise a brand new Star Wars film by myself each time, and I'm all the characters, all the ships, all the music, all the everything, and the audience get complete control over it as well. So
so they're firing the plot points or the characters at you, or or they go, this is the title.
Yeah, so
like a random word, almost like a random word generator, and you go from there.
Yeah, sort of, and then they get it's probably easier to explain how the show formed because it wasn't born that way. It started out November 2023, and I booked about 8 months before. I booked myself onto an alternative comedy night where you can't do, as it says, you can't do your act. And so he said, "Oh, well, what will you do? Because you're not an alternative comedian." I said, I'll improvise something.
I'll make it up as I go along.
I'll literally make it up. I said, I'll improvise whatever. I'll improvise a whole show. That was that. I completely forgot about it. And then the night before, he said, "Oh, we're really looking forward to this improvised show because I've sold out the comedy club based on it. Everyone's very excited." I went, "Oh, bugger me." I had no recollection of making this promise. So on the night of the gig, I was brushing my teeth and I was desperately trying to think, what am I going to do? So the idea that I did was I improvised a whole cabaret show, and I was the MC. I was a poet, a dancer, a magician, a comedian, and then I was everywhere. I was a couple going to watch the show. I was the babysitter. I was the taxi driver. And so at each time, and this was the crucial element that found its way into the Star Wars show, was it's really so. Everyone's very intelligent. With improvisation, you have people to play off. Whereas I was going to be playing off nobody. It was just me.
Yeah.
So I needed a second player. I needed a second performer. So I made the crowd the second performer. So what they could do was, so if I said to them, okay, now I'm a burlesque dancer. What's my name? Your name's Joe. Where am I from? You're French. And then that element, they had control because they were then, oh, what can I do? So I did that and it went really well. And I thought, oh, man, that's interesting. There's something there. So for a long time, it was just going to be maybe I could do a cabaret show.
Yeah.
But then Edinburgh of August 2024, I was roaming around Edinburgh and I kept seeing all these genre-specific improv shows. So, for example, there was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer one, there was a Friends one, there was a Lord of the Rings one, and then a bit like I said to you earlier with the Second City thing in Chicago, I was just strolling down between shows one day and I went, oh, next year I'll do a one-man Star Wars improv show. And I told the idea to my girlfriend, now fiance, and she said, that's a good idea. I told a few people, they said, yeah, good idea. That was that. Didn't really give much thought as to how it would work, but I would just do it. So I put in an application to do it before I'd even done it. Finally workshopped it at a comedy festival back in February, but it had a different title. It was Star Wars episode ? The one man made up movie, but that felt too close to a lawsuit.
Yeah.
I was very concerned about that title. Luckily, it went under the radar. Plus, I needed to know. So the pitch was basically this. I go on, I do like 5-10 minutes of stand up and warm them up. And then I figured go big or go home. So I was all the trailers before the film. I was all of the adverts before the film. I was everything. And again, it would literally be, so what film do you want? A never before heard film, whatever. Revenge of the Raspberry. Okay, then we do that film quickly and then I do it. And then I was the new head of Lucasfilm. Elon Musk kept coming up quite a bit. So, I think quite a few times it was Elon. And then I say, and the film that we present tonight is Star Wars Episode 28. The first ever show was The Jedi That Never Was. And so what I then did was so I took the idea from the cabaret show, was that I gave the audience, we wrote down 5 different film genres, which is a short form improv technique. So they might have said Western, musical, horror. I said, right, you have these. At any point when I'm performing, you can say, stop. Now do it as a horror. And then I have to do it as a horror. And then I gave them 5 different accents. Scottish, Russian, French, whatever. You can tell me to do that. And then there was a game-changing cameo, a plot twist, and then do it from the start. So the audience they've got total control. And so then I just do the film, and I'm all the characters and all of the whole shebang. And then, so despite the fact that I can sit here now and go, it was the most successful project I've ever done. If you could have seen if you could have seen me on the night before we kicked off at Edinburgh in the morning of, I was not well. If you want to lose a lot of weight, I would recommend booking in a show at the world's biggest arts festival that you have no clue whether it'll work or not, because you'll lose a few pounds. I just thought maybe I'd got in over my head, and then I thought, the audacity, the ego, to think, why the hell would you be able to? I was really nervous. I was getting quite, because look, you're a performer. You want the right amount of pressure, to do well, but you don't want bone shaking nerves. That's not healthy.
Yeah, you want the adrenaline, but you don't want to collapse in a complete heap of I've taken on too much.
Yeah, whereas this had really, I thought, maybe it seemed like a good idea, but however, I was so great right from the get-go. The show just took off, but so my stand-up is clean. I've worked clean for about 5 years, just as a personal preference, just to do. It doesn't mean that I don't, I love all comedy, but it makes it more tricky for you. And plus, it gives the crowd a bit of variety, you know. So the one thing I was adamant about for this show was that it had to be, I was confident that I could improvise clean as well, you know, not come out with any swear words or go into any naughty stuff. So that, because that has bothered me a little bit in a couple of the Star Wars projects. Hasn't been bad, like, you know, jaw-dropping swearing, but I don't like swearing in Star Wars. I just don't. That's my taste. The point of it is, if you're 36 or 106, you should be able to watch it. So what happened was families were able to come, and some of the best shows were, I mean, one of my favorite shows were where there was this family from Australia with these 5, 6, 7-year-olds, and then there was about 12 Oasis fans in who were really trying to catch me out. Yeah. And so the villain of that film, like that film was episode 23, The Revenge of Philip Schofield, which which was a good film. I made that one. Yeah. But the villain of that piece. So what I said. So the more confident I was getting, I gave the crowd total control. So at the start, so the first few shows, you know, I was saying okay, and then we cut to Dathomir, where there's Darth Maul, and then there's Darth Maul, and then they might say, oh, and Darth Maul's Swedish. So there's, you know, fun to be had there. But then if I remember this particular film, I said, who's the villain of the piece? Bearing in mind there's some kids just down to the left. Yeah. And these Oasis guys, they had said, Darth Panda, who's dying from HIV. So
okay.
Those were the best shows, because then it was watching me in agony trying to make it work.
Sure. Yeah.
Whilst keeping the kids engaged and doing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, some of the best films, you know, you take Star. That's the idea, is that there's everything for everyone there. But on that show,
everything for
these Oasis, because Oasis were playing the same time as the Fringe, which was a bit of contention for some. I wasn't.
Yeah, a bit of bad planning there.
Yeah. So on one of the shows, there was these 12 Oasis, and you knew they were Oasis fans because they had the bucket hats and the Adidas. And I said, "Are you okay?" They said, "Oh yeah. We're here for the Star Wars show." I thought, "Oh God!" So really, but I have to say, it was one of the best ones. Another favourite was episode 78, Nicolas Cage Strikes Back. So it was just utter mad. The point was, I didn't want it to be art, because I think life can be a bit tricky and a bit tough, and you know, life's hard. So I wanted it to be the most ridiculous, silly thing you've ever seen, and it gives you a good giggle. And thankfully, people got on with it. So I was very humbled. I was able to, because I never take it for granted. If you were to talk to my fiance at the start of every day, you know, she was checking in. I said, if there's a show today, I'll phone you at 4. I said, if there's a show, if it goes on. But then I was able to I was able to sell out just over half of the run.
Brilliant.
Which was magic. I was really grateful. Really grateful.
Are you tempted to pitch any of those films to Kathy Kennedy?
I think they'd be open to ideas at this.
Yeah.
I know it's been a long time since a Star Wars film. But you know, on that note, as a little segue, I wrote about this and sent it to Mark, is because it's quite trendy for YouTubers or you know, your ex-bots to say, you know, Star Wars is dead. There's no passion alive for Star Wars. There's no. However, there is, and it's there every day because I saw it every day. It being passed down to families, and honestly, I had the most diverse, wide-ranging crowds imaginable, and it wasn't down to me. It was down to Star Wars. it was because it was Star Wars was why. I mean, hopefully I was able to keep the shows together and make it a good show.
Yeah.
But let's not be egotistical. No one came to see that show that went, "Oh my God, Jon Hipkiss is doing a Star Wars improv show." No, they came because it was Star Wars. The passion is that I basically did the show that I wanted to see and nobody else was doing. That's all this has come from, but it's taken on a real life, which is great.
You're listening to Fantha Tracks. Flip through the galaxy of literature with Cannon Fodder hosts Brian Cameron, Matt Booker, Mark Newbold, and Mark Mulcaster.
Count me in.
Spin round the rim with Desert Planet Discs. Your musical journey through the space lanes with your hosts, Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson.
The hottest tunes this side of Moss Isley. Happy!
Get the latest news, interviews, reviews, and much more on Making Tracks with your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
Like an Ewok battle wagon out of control.
Join hosts Claire Henry and a rotating panel of guest hosts for the podcast that's full of hope. Planet Leia.
I love you.
I know.
It's time to head south with the Fantha from Down Under, Adam O'Brien.
Oh, g'day, mate. How you going?
Start your engines with Paul Naylor and Mark Newbold as they lift the hood on starships, airspeeders, swoops, capital ships, and more from across the cosmos. And for everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds. Bookmark fanthatracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
Obviously, from that, people will have picked up. You have a deep love of Star Wars, and I know you're an avid collector.
I am indeed. You
Echo botherer. How did your Star Wars fandom come about? Rewind back to Little John.
Little John. I wasn't Little John. I was a chubby child. So Big John. I was given by my cousin, who would have been about 10 or 12 at the time. So I was born in 91. So in 96, I was given some really old battered VHS copies of the original trilogy. And they weren't even from the same sort of package of, because they kept releasing them, didn't they?
Yeah.
One was in widescreen, one was from like 88, one was, it was all of I was like, okay, well, these look fine. And so we were in the good old days of no streaming and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I had no idea, so I watched Empire first. And then my dad came into the living room and said, no, I think you've got to watch. And he found out A New Hope. He went, this one's for... But I was already watching Empire. So I watched them, and then that was it. I have never looked back since. My first collecting... it's a really nice story. We were down in Weymouth. So this would have been 97 by now, because the... merchandise for the special editions had really come into effect, and Star Wars was everywhere again. So we were down in Weymouth, so I'd have been 6, 7? Me, mum, dad, my nan and granddad. In a Woolies, they had the 12-inch Power of the Force 2 Han Solo, and obviously I've got a little bit of pocket money, and I said, that's from the films that I've watched. I have to. And my granddad, he's no longer with us, bless he said, we'll get him this. This is a nice treat. And I can remember my mum saying, don't get it him, it'll be a fad. It'll pass. It'll pass. And that was all I played with for the whole holiday then, was that 12-inch Han Solo. And then from there, it just cannonballed. So I was the right age for the prequels. I was 8 years old when The Phantom Menace came out, and just loved it. Absolutely, it was glorious. And then I grew up with the prequels. So any sort of prequel hate completely bypassed me, because I was the age that they were prequel. So I've always been very lucky, because I found the original trilogy, and then got to experience the prequel trilogy as it was meant to be seen.
Yeah, if ever anybody talks to me about, oh yeah, prequel fans, I'm immediately like, yeah, that's John.
That's me.
John's the prequel fan.
Yeah.
Anybody starts on Phantom Menace, I'm like, right, you need to speak to John.
Oh, the Phantom. I think the Phantom Menace is it's glorious.
Yeah, just what every sort of 7-8-year-old kid wants to know about taxation of trade routes.
Well, look, it's come full circle now.
Yeah,
because I have a very deep understanding
of what's going
on in the world.
Yeah, so maybe he was a visionary after all.
You see? He knew
what was round the corner.
I'm Gareth Edwards, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks Radio.
So, over the years, you've amassed somewhat of a collection. It's fair to say.
It's gotten a little bit out of hand.
So here we go. Here's the sort of the on the spot. So, Shay Hipkiss is on fire. What's the collectible that you say? Obviously, assuming that family and pets and everything else are all safe. What's the collectible that you run back into a burning building to save?
Well, I mean, first of all, we sacrifice the family.
Or you take them back in with you so that you can carry more stuff.
Absolutely. That's a really, really tricky question because different pieces become different favourites over time, and maybe you pick something up, you go, oh, I love. So, for example, one of my favourites at the moment is my fiance for my birthday. Last year, she made the Muppets as Star Wars characters.
Okay.
So Kermit the Frog is Luke, and he's made out of bed sheets. They're just amazing. But I mean, the obvious sort of answer is there are things in that collection that people have got me for gifts who are no longer with us. There's a Luke Skywalker lightsaber in there that dear friend got and has now passed away. Not really worth, masses on the market, but I don't, as any true collector, it's not about.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, my granddad, the last gift he ever got me was the Power of the Force 2 Scout Trooper on speeder bike.
Okay.
It's a great toy because if you pressed the button at the back, it exploded, which for a boy was just about, you could smash it into the wall, explode it. And the head on that figure, if you flicked the head, it would go back, so you could pretend he'd been shot. So that toy is really special. Not long after, I think literally about 2 weeks after I got that gift off my granddad, he passed away. So probably something like that, would be something. Or if not, I'd just happily lie down in the fire and burn with it, really.
So from that, what's on your sort of grail list of collectibles? Is there something that you like constantly searching for and as yet have been frustrated? As we've already touched on, you are a regular at the Echo Live events, and I know you don't want to get in John's way when he's got his early bird ticket.
Well, this is a business event. Don't talk.
Sweeping the ankles of sort of 6 and 7 year olds. So
again, sacrifice children first. They gotta go. They gotta go. Always searching for. I've become really interested lately in screen used items. The last sort of acquisition with that was a piece of fur that was used on Logray, the Ewok.
Okay.
Again, prop store piece. I got a piece of the Falcon from The Force Awakens. I think it's literally, maybe the piece of plumbing on the toilet. But
got to go somewhere.
Still it's there. I love the weird and wacky and wonderful. Some of the I've been really getting into the bootlegs lately, which is interesting. My favourite piece I found in Corfu, and it's this 8-inch plastic figure that's all green, and he's got a Playmobil head, and it says Jason, Jason. And I saw it. I thought, well, we all remember Jason from those famous films. Awful piece of crap. Anything homemade? I've been getting into some really one-of-a-kind pieces, stuff that people, some of my favourite pieces. In fact, I was showing somebody the other day, they came to see the collection. These little hand-knitted characters that this little old lady had made, and she'd got a car boot stall down in, God no, Devon, I think it was, and she was charging about £1 for them. I said, how long did they take you to make? She says, oh, they take a good week each. Like, this is bad economics. Yeah. I don't know much about business, but I know you're operating at a loss. Yeah. I think I gave about 20 quid for all three of them. Stuff like that, things that, and then I'm always after the 12-inch figures. Again, we're all dealing with cash, aren't we? And expendable cash. But I'm only about 2 or 3 vintage 12-inch figures away from completing that run of figures. So we will be keeping our eyes open at Echo.
Yeah. So anything? I know we have been speaking over the last couple of days, sort of musical.
Yeah. So this dawned on me when we were going to talk. I get into weird little. I'd be interested actually whether other collectors do this, but you go through a little phase. So it might be, say you're in your collection and you give it a good clean, you go, doesn't seem to be much in the way of maybe applause. 1996 to 99 applause stuff. Yeah, I need to get some more items by the company applause. So you might do that. But back in May, I was watching Bon Jovi live at Madison Square Garden on their 2008 Lost Highway tour.
Yep.
Which halfway through the set, they play a song called We Got It Going On, which was a duet with a country duo, Big and Rich. Yeah. And I remembered the album Lost Highway, which I love that album. And I thought, I remember that this country duo, Big and Rich, had an album called Hillbilly Jedi. So then I went down a tangent and I picked up about 7 or 8 CDs of bands that have Star Wars related songs in their musical catalogue. Obviously, there's some obvious ones. I know Friends of Fanta, there's Ash, there's Blink 182 had an album, either 98 or 99, and I think song 10 is called A New Hope.
Okay.
Which is about teenage boys loving Princess Leia. Weird Al Yankovic has obviously got an album, and the saga begins. And so anyway, one of my favourite stories, because I think it's the weirdest story in Hollywood, is this album by Big and Rich. So here we go. So Bon Jovi, rock band. In 2005, they do a song on the album Have a Nice Day called Who Says You Can't Go Home with Jennifer Nettles, and it's a #1 country song. It's proper country. There's no denying this is a Nashville country song on this rock album. Big success. So Bon Jovi say, well, now we're going to do a country album. So they do a country album, Lost Highway. As I mentioned before, there's a song called We Got It Going On with Big and Rich. Blah, 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 blah. Flash forward a few years, they've stayed friends. Big and Rich are doing an album, and they get Jon Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora to come on the album. And either Big or Rich says, we've got a good title for an album. It's called Hillbilly Jedi. And Richie Sambora says, that's a great title, great title. Jon Bon Jovi says, great title, but ever the astute businessman, you'll get sued. You can't have that title. So Big and Rich are devastated. John Bon Jovi, seeing that they're devastated, says, "Don't worry, I'll phone George Lucas." So, John
calling in the favour from the Star Wars Christmas album.
You see, it all ties full circle and back. Obviously, John Bon Jovi was on the album Christmas in the Stars.
Yes.
So John Bon Jovi phones George Lucas, says, I got these friends, Big and Rich. Can they use the title Hillbilly Jedi? George Lucas says yes, but I got a film coming up soon called Red Tails. Maybe you could come to the premiere and do a bit of promotion and help me.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So Big and Rich have an officially titled album, Hillbilly Jedi.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say about like going off on a tangent. I did exactly that with Star Wars vinyl.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I've got all my soundtrack CDs and sort of one of my grail pieces was always get an original 77 double album because I wanted the Star Wars soundtrack back in 77.
Yeah,
and I ended up with the Bruce Baxter Orchestra version, which is kind of a sort of synth pop knockoff type sub Miko version. So it's always been on the wish list to get an original 77 soundtrack. So I did that, and then the sequel films came out, and they started doing nice picture disc editions. I was like, oh, I could go off down a little picture disc route now. So I've got
slippery
picture discs. It's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope.
Have you pre-ordered the new Episode 3 version with the Matt Ferguson artwork on?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, you might want to get on that, my friend.
Yeah. So yes, I'm. The other one that I keep sort of tiptoeing around is one of the cool things that Mr. Keeler got me actually was from, I don't know if it was from Celebration or whether it was actually from Disney, is the Galaxy's Edge music from the park.
Oh, very
They
nice.
put it out on a picture disc, and it's ace. So lovely because it's that concept art of Batuu, and it's as you sort of walking round, and you've got the little piped Disney music that's all John Williams sort of themes that he's written for the park. It's it's that. So we're about at time, unfortunately.
That's gone very quick.
It's quite literally flown by.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. So, obviously, we've spoken a lot about your comedy and the shows. Where can people find the show in Droitwich in November? So, check that out. But where can people find you online and find out what you're up to and where the next shows are?
You can head over to my social medias, Jon_Hipkiss, Jon, like the John Bond, like the proper way of saying John, not the old man version of John with the JOH. So JON_Hipkiss, HIPKISS. So I'll post all the dates on there and stuff. We've just had the Birmingham Comedy Festival. Actually, there's Nottingham Comedy Festival coming up. An Evening You Won't Regret is there. And then, as I say, the last performance of that stand-up show is at Droitwich before we morph into a new show next year.
Brand new for 2026.
Brand new for 2026 with the same jokes but a new title. And then the Star Wars show is going on tour. Ooh, I know.
Tatooine, Batuu.
You name it, we got it back. So I'm in the midst from now up until Christmas putting that tour together. But when that won't get announced until January, so keep an eye out on Fantha Tracks and on over my social medias and all that kind of malarkey.
There we go. So it's only right that we play out with Big and Rich.
Oh, are we doing him?
We're doing it. We're going there. We're going there. So, thank you once again, John, for spending some time with us, and may the force be with you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Did you miss me? Well, I ain't been gone. I've been making little babies. I've been writing big songs. Come and kiss me. Yeah, it's been too long since we tore a town down like King Kong. Get it. A lot of young guns try to fill these boots. They want the green without the black and blue. They don't understand, this ain't just talking. I've been a dead man walking. Born again. Yes, I'm born again. I'll be white knuckle gripping when I spit in the wind, riding high in the saddle with the six-string grin. Another headline, yeah, we're back in the news. Hillbilly Jedis with attitude. We come to raise the roof in your backyard. We put the lightning back in the jar. Look out! We're born again. Yes, I'm born again. I'll be white knuckle gripping when I spit in the wind, riding high in the saddle with a six-string grin. I'm born again. I've been born again. Oh, Of a country revolution. It's a congregation for the melody. All you country sons and daughters, get down in the dirty water. Make you holler, make you wanna set it free. Born again. Yes, I'm born again. I'll be white knuckle gripping when I spit in the wind, riding high in the saddle with a six-string grin.
Thank you for listening to Fantha Tracks Radio and this episode of Desert Planet Discs. For all your Star Wars news, reviews and everything else, head over to fanthatracks.com, or why not like, follow or subscribe to our social media pages, which can be found by searching Fantha Tracks on your favourite channels. Get in touch with us by emailing radio@fanthatracks.com and putting Desert Planet Discs in the subject line. It helps the pit droid sort out where it needs to be sent. Of course, we'd be honoured if you subscribe to the podcast channel and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star one, via Apple Music, Amazon, Audible, SoundCloud, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribing is the best way to make sure you never miss an episode of Desert Planet Discs, Making Tracks, Planet Layer, Start Your Engines,
Collecting Tracks, Fantha from Down Under and Cannon Fodder. Weekly Making Tracks shows drop every Tuesday at 7 PM UK time, and other shows drop on a rotation every Friday at the same time, 7 PM. If you'd like to see what we look like, then don't miss Good Morning Tatooine on Facebook, YouTube and Twitch every Sunday at 9 PM UK time, 4 PM Eastern and 1 PM Pacific. Huge thanks to James Semple for the Fantha Fair intro, and Mark Daniels and Vanessa Marshall for our voiceovers. And remember, Fantha Tracks Radio and TV is totally free, no subscriptions, Patreon and the like, so what's stopping you?
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road. That's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Come back soon, I'll be waiting.